In the beginning, when the earth was still young, humanity had spread far and wide, filling the land with people and cities. But as the population grew, so did wickedness. The world that God had created in beauty and harmony was now filled with violence, corruption, and sin. People turned away from their Creator, seeking their own desires, following after evil thoughts continually. What was once good had been tainted by human rebellion. From his place in heaven, God looked down upon the earth, and what he saw filled him with deep sorrow. The creation he had lovingly made, the people whom he had formed in his own image, were now destroying themselves and one another. The harmony between God and man was broken. It was not only their actions, but their hearts were filled with evil. Every thought and intention of humanity was set against the good. God, who had made the world in love, now grieved that his beautiful earth had been turned into a place of ruin. Yet in the midst of this dark and broken world, there was one man who still walked faithfully with God. His name was Noah. Unlike the people around him, Noah sought after righteousness. He was a man of integrity who lived blamelessly and honored God, even when everyone else mocked the way of truth. Noah's heart was tender toward God, and because of this, God chose to speak to him. God revealed to Noah the terrible judgment that was coming upon the earth. A great flood would sweep over the land, destroying every living thing that breathed. But in this act of judgment, God would also provide a way of salvation. God commanded Noah to build a great ark, a massive wooden vessel, large enough to house Noah's family and a remnant of every kind of animal on the earth. The task before Noah was enormous. The ark was to be built to precise measurements, long, wide, and tall, with rooms inside for animals and provisions, and a window for light. God gave Noah the exact plan, and Noah, in humble obedience, began to build. Day after day, year after year, Noah labored, cutting down trees, shaping timbers, fastening them together. As he worked, people came to watch. They laughed and ridiculed him, for there had never been such a thing as a flood that covered the earth. "Why build a boat when there is no sea?" they mocked. But Noah was not building on a whim. He built in faith, trusting the warning of God, even though he had not yet seen the rain. As Noah built the ark, he also preached to the people, warning them of what was to come, calling them to turn from their wickedness and seek God. But no one listened. Their hearts were hard, and they continued in their violent and sinful ways. Noah's obedience stood in sharp contrast to the rebellion of the world around him. Finally, when the ark was complete, God instructed Noah to gather the animals. From every kind of creature, birds, beasts, creeping things, God brought them to Noah, 2 by 2, male and female. They came, as if guided by an unseen hand, and Noah led them into the ark, where rooms had been prepared for each kind. Along with the animals, Noah, his wife, his 3 sons, and their wives also entered the ark, 8 people in all. When everything was ready, God himself shut the door of the ark, sealing them inside. Then the skies darkened, and for the first time, rain began to fall from the heavens. Not just a gentle rain, but torrents of water poured down. The earth shook as fountains of water burst up from beneath the ground. The seas rose, rivers swelled, and soon water covered the land. The floodwaters rose higher and higher. Mighty trees were uprooted, homes swept away, and all the works of human hands were destroyed. Those who had mocked Noah now found no refuge. The waters kept rising until even the highest mountains were submerged. Every living thing that breathed air perished, except those who were safe within the ark. Inside the ark, Noah and his family listened to the storm raging outside. But even in the midst of destruction, they were safe, surrounded by God's mercy. The ark, lifted by the waters, floated securely as the judgment of God swept over the earth. For 40 days and 40 nights, the rain fell without stopping. But even when the rain ceased, the waters remained, covering the earth. It was many months before the waters began to recede. The ark came to rest on the mountains of Ararat. From there, Noah sent out a raven, and later a dove, to see if the waters had gone down. The first time, the dove returned, finding no place to land. But later, when Noah sent the dove again, It returned with a fresh olive leaf in its beak, a sign that life was returning to the earth. At last, God spoke to Noah again, telling him to come out of the ark, to bring out the animals, and to fill the earth again. As Noah stepped out onto dry ground, his heart was full of gratitude. His first act was to build an altar to the Lord and offer sacrifices in thanksgiving for God's mercy and salvation. God was pleased with Noah's offering. He made a covenant, a sacred promise with Noah and his descendants. Never again would God destroy the earth by flood. As a sign of this everlasting covenant, God set a rainbow in the sky. Whenever the rainbow appeared, it would be a reminder of God's promise of mercy. The story of Noah and the ark is not just a story of judgment and survival. It is a story filled with deep symbolism. The ark itself is a symbol of salvation, a refuge provided by God in the midst of judgment. It points to the ultimate salvation that would come through Jesus Christ, who would offer himself as the way of escape from sin and death. Just as Noah entered the ark to be saved, so all who come to Christ will find refuge from the judgment to come. The flood represents God's judgment on sin. Though God is loving, he is also holy and just. He will not allow evil to reign forever. The flood was a cleansing of the earth, a picture of how God will one day bring justice and make all things right. The rainbow is a symbol of God's mercy and faithfulness. Even though humanity continues to sin, God promises mercy. The rainbow reminds us that judgment is not the end. God's covenant of love endures. It is a sign that he will keep his promises. Noah himself is a symbol of faith and obedience. While the world around him lived in rebellion, Noah chose to walk with God. His life reminds us that even when the world turns away from God, we are called to be faithful, to trust in God's word, and to obey his commands. The story also symbolizes new beginnings. After the flood, the earth was made new. Noah and his family began again with God's blessing. This speaks to us of the new life that God offers to all who turn to him, a fresh start, washed clean by his grace. As we reflect on the story of Noah and the ark, we are reminded that God is both just and merciful. He takes sin seriously, but he also provides a way of escape. Just as he provided the ark for Noah, he has provided Jesus for us. Through him, we are offered salvation and life eternal. Even today, as we see rainbows in the sky, we can remember God's faithfulness and his promise to never abandon us. Like Noah, we are called to trust God, even when we don't see the storm coming. And when the storm comes, we are called to remain in the safety of his promise. Thus, Noah's story is a timeless reminder that though the world may fall into darkness, God's light remains. His mercy extends to all who will listen, and his covenant stands forever.